YouTube, the acquisition of Team Sorcerers here, and welcome back to What If Wednesdays. And yeah, in case you hadn't guessed, I'm filming these back to back, but just uploading them weekly still. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about the Battle City quarter-final match between Yugi and Bakura. Now, we all know what happens here. Like, Yugi summons Slifer the Sky Dragon. Marek's rod makes it so that actual Bakura regains control of his body and then puts Yugi in that difficult position. Like, attack and then go on to save the world, or forfeit and then make it less likely to stop Marek. But of course, luckily, as we know, the spirit regains control out of fear of Bakura getting really, really injured and then having no host. I guess there's two ways to go about it. Yeah, which I really wish I'd thought of beforehand. But I guess we could revisit it at another point. But the main topic I wanted to go over is, what if Yugi lost that duel? Or what if he just threw the duel and didn't want Bakura to get hurt? So, in that scenario, which would be a huge shock, like, the main character is out of the Battle City finals, and Bakura takes Slifer the Sky Dragon and moves on. I suppose at that point the spirit of the ring would regain control, and yeah, Bakura would go on to the Battle City finals. Now, you would think the semi-finals would be a different lineup, but I'm not so sure it would go that way. So, obviously, there is that confrontation between Yami Marek and Yami Bakura, so that will still happen. Now, whether or not Battle City rules would be applied here is another matter, at least in terms of the anti-rule. Would Bakura summon Slifer? I don't know. It's unlikely. Either the duel will play out the exact same way, or Bakura will get an opportunity to bring out Slifer, but Marek will be able to play around it, like of course he does against Yugi in the actual timeline later on. Either way, Yami Bakura loses, and Marek takes Slifer, which makes the situation really, really bad. The villain now has 2 god cards. Then after that, the whole virtual world arc plays out as normal, and then after that, everyone realises that Bakura is missing. So it's back to leaving us with just 3 semi-finalists. So because of that, Kaiba would reinstate Yugi. So yeah, he's back in the competition. He's now in the semi-finals instead of Bakura. But then comes the question of whether or not Marek would have to give Slifer back. Then again, I don't think he would, because I mean, if he did, then the rest of the story just plays out as normal. But in this situation, actually, with Bakura missing, it begs the question of what happened to Slifer. I guess at that point, it is then highly suspected and realised that Marek now has Slifer the Sky Dragon and is in control of 2 Egyptian gods, which puts Yugi at a disadvantage. So, well, I guess if they realise it, he'd be forced to give... Marek would be forced to give Slifer back to Yugi, I guess. But let's say he doesn't give it back. How would this turn out? Well, obviously the battle royale between the 4 semi-finalists plays out as normal. I feel like the duel between Marek and Joey would still play out the same way. It's unlikely there'd ever be a chance for Marek to tribute summon any of the gods, so based on how it's played out, I mean, maybe it could still be played out differently and have Marek summon Slifer and put Joey in a worse position, but I'm not so sure. That would be pretty interesting. But even if Joey does find a way around Slifer, Ra still comes out and attacks him. Joey tanks it and then passes out before he can finish Marek off with Gearfried the Iron Knight. And then we go on to the other semi-final duel, Kaiba against Yugi. And yeah, without Slifer, Yugi is at a disadvantage. So he needs to get creative and find a way to overcome Obelisk. Maybe he can use similar tactics to how he took down Obelisk when Jeremiah, that first Orichalcos duelist, had Obelisk. That's what I feel like it would come down to. So maybe Yugi would use the same Brave Attack combo with like the Magnet Warriors or something. I feel like that would be the only way to take him down, really. And then, but then it begs the question: would that vision still happen? And that Yugi and Kaiba have of the ancient past? I feel like that would still happen, just as Obelisk is about to be taken down. And then, after all that, the rest of the duel plays out the same way, with Blue Eyes and Dark Magician facing off, and then a final confrontation between Dark Paladin and Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. In any case, regardless of how this plays out, Yugi will still win the duel, for plot convenience, and Kaiba hands over Obelisk, and now Yugi has an Egyptian god again, but he's still outnumbered when it comes to facing Marek. Um, and yeah, this will still play out very differently. Um, I feel like it would still get to a point where Marek would bring out both Slifer and Ra. Um, and yeah, I feel like it would be a similar scenario would happen where Marek would get out Slifer somehow, but Yugi's able to summon Obelisk the Tormentor. Slifer weakens him, but the effect is only temporary due to the anime rules of how the gods work. But other than that, I don't know how it would play out. I would think Yugi would be able to build up a board and use Obelisk's effect to basically destroy Slifer at least and deal 4,000 points of damage, and then it would end up being played out the same way as before, where Marek then sets up that defense of Egyptian God Slime, Jam Defender, Boganian, Swallowtail Spike Lizard, and all that stuff. But then it makes me wonder about Ra's attack on Obelisk. I know, obviously, Yugi used his own Monster Reborn to bring back Slifer the Sky Dragon and make it tank the attack. Wait, no, he would still do that in that situation. Because, yeah, he can just take Slifer from Marek's graveyard and make it tank the attack. So, yeah, it would still play out. I was going to say Yugi would just simply discard Karibo to reduce Ra's damage, because I'm pretty sure he did have Karibo in his hand, like throughout that duel. As I swear it was seen when Exchange was played. I'm going to double check this. Yeah, Karibo was in Yugi's hand the entire time. But yeah, the duel would end up playing out the same way, and Yugi would ultimately win. But now this begs the question, would Yugi get both Slifer and Ra, or just one of them? Since obviously the Battle City rules state that the loser has to give up their rarest card. I feel like that would be Ra in this case. I mean, I know in the in the anime world, the Egyptian gods are supposed to be the rarest cards ever, like combined. But I would think because Ra is more powerful, that would be rarer than Slifer. Maybe, I guess. However, I feel like Marek would relinquish both of them, because he and everyone knows that all three of them are needed to help Atem unlock his memories. So I think he would still give up both Slifer and Ra, and of course the Millennium's Rod and Ring. And yeah, that would be the end of it. And of course, the whole story continues as normal. Yugi and Bakura would of course have a rematch again, which of course would be when little Yugi confronts Bakura. Um, just to have a more legitimate game, and one where Yugi doesn't throw the match. So, yeah, that's what I believe would happen if Yugi lost against Bakura in the Battle City quarterfinals. Yeah, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.